And ladies and gentlemen, also give it up for the panel.
So,
you want to ask a question of me? I didn't organize this panel. I don't know these people.
I immediately hear the buzz in the room as to the genetic makeup of this panel.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me assure you that I did not select this panel because I wouldn't know what to do with the panel if someone gave it to me to begin with. And also, I'm sure these men are perfectly capable and really intelligent, and I'm not going to question anything. They might be able to do something to me that I'm not, go into my account. No, it's not like that. What kind of a party do you think this is? Hack into my account and take the last 13 Rand out of my account. We can't have that. Now, can we? Also, before we get started, I do apologize. Do you see the little magazines on your tables? We just want to thank American Express Foreign Exchange? No, that is Johan Koornhof is brought to you by American Express Foreign Exchange. So the Sally Hansen, feel free, besides the sweets that you all have on the side, you've also got a little nougat in your little magazine pack. So that's courtesy of them. But now we are going to have our panel discussion. Included in the questions would not be any gender specifications. All right, so I think we're good to go. Give it up one more time, ladies and gentlemen, for your panel.
Great. So, still good morning, everybody. And gents, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. And I think, thank you for inviting me to be part of this as well this year. I think everybody's sitting here, and it was started off so greatly this morning with just realizing that it's all about asking questions in order to get different answers. And I've had the privilege of being involved with Sure Travel and Vanya and them from early on this year, just with asking some different questions and seeing how can one go about differently in the industry to make a difference in order, and the big word is to stay relevant. And I'm sure that's a question that each and every one of you sitting here today have had for a while or will definitely engage with today going forward, of how to stay relevant. And in all of that, it always is going to involve change. And something that not everybody comes to and takes to very easily, but it's something that is very important and needs to happen, is change. And so what we've done is to engage into going to ask and design a few questions to ask a couple of specialists in the field, because always nice is wanting to ask those questions in your own industry to your own peers. But the minute you can ask people who are exposed to the service you deliver, that sort of the talk in the town that you don't hear. And that's basically what we can find in some ways, hopefully today, from some of the gentlemen that operate in your industry, but coming from a different angle, having discussions that you guys would like to hear about maybe or engage in further. So the decision and choice was to put you guys on the spot a wee bit today. As so to say. Absolutely. So just to start off with, gentlemen, just looking at the industry as such, not the members and what they currently do, but just the whole of the travel industry. What would you say is the three most biggest challenges that you see going forward in the industry? And if all free to give an answer, and if someone that wants to, Jason?
No, Jason's just passing the mic.
Is he just passing the mic?
Okay, well,
George.
I thought you were just passing the mic, so I didn't know you wanted to talk. You know what, I think that we're going through exceptionally challenging times, and we can waste a whole day here talking about external macro factors locally and globally that are affecting the market and the business, but I think the question really boils down to what can I do within my business and my kind of circle of influence that I can not only survive what we're going through, but also see the opportunities that lie within it. You know, being a supplier, I hear a lot about, especially a cruise supplier, you know, I hear a lot about losing sales on the internet. And for me, the main problem that comes from that is that generally the industry in South Africa is focused on selling on price and selling price instead of selling a service that becomes so valuable that people will pay whatever it takes to have access to that service.
And that's an interesting comment to make, actually, just to touch back on that, George, as well. You're saying you want to sell a service or an experience instead of focusing on the price. So if I can ask you, if there is something that you are aware of and you've been thinking about addressing in your industry, how would you go about that?
Well, people really will pay for knowledge. And again, looking at the more kind of leisure part of the business, I'm not an expert in the corporate side. For me, and I think you mentioned it, it's a travel consultants, and I think that part of the word, the consultant, is missing in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
People come in, we're trying to find the cheapest product, put it on the table without really understanding the customer and understanding what value you can generate for that customer, so that the price is not the number one variable or the number one target of your transaction. And that brings me to another issue. It's that as an industry, we are very transactional, and we lose, again, the value add, the relationship, the long-term relationship with the client, and how do we enhance that relationship so, again, the client is happy to pay whatever the price is. And to give you a practical example, in this last couple of years, which we all know how tough they've been, our luxury brands are selling through the roof, and it is our medium to low kind of priced products that are suffering. And again, this is where the opportunity lies. So it's become easier to sell a luxury cruise, I don't know, at $5,000 for 10 days than it is to sell a medium cruise line for $1,000 for a week, because the income of that level hasn't been affected. Plus, those consumers, when they see the value, they will be happily pay the price. And I've been to many meetings with cruise lines that they can analyze everything. And the decision making when they select a cruise, price is the fourth or the fifth element in the whole kind of thinking process and buying process. We put it at the front.
Yeah.
And immediately you lose the client. And I say to consultants quite often, stop trying to upsell, try and downsell. So instead of starting with a $500 cruise and then try and get another $100 extra by upgrading them from an inside to an outside cabin.
Yeah.
Start with a crystal cruise at $15,000 and then bring them down to $6,000. They'll be very happy to pay it. So, but you're still making $6,000. So, and again, maybe we just had Douglas now talking about innovation. So this, could be something like that. It's kind of
interesting. Yeah.
And of course, depending how much time I have, I can carry on. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We have to move away from this kind of transaction. I mean, anybody now with a computer or a phone or whatever can press a few buttons and make a selection. They don't need a human being to do that.
Yeah.
The thing is, what is the conversation and the theater, as Douglas mentioned, that happens before you end up pressing those buttons for your clients? Because that then becomes just a small part of the whole relationship.
Absolutely. And I was just about to say there, Mark, do you guys experience that in your industry as well?
Is this on?
Yes, we can hear you.
Mark, Virgin Atlantic. Hello, everyone. Yes, we do. Some of the challenges that we've experienced, and I'm sure we felt it all in South Africa, on the 23rd of June, what happened in the world? Brexit. What happened on the 9th of November? It trumped Brexit. The rate of exchange that we have out of South Africa has been a really, really big influence for us in terms of making outside destinations rather unattractive to the South African rand. On the 31st of May, the rand was trading at 23 rand 17 to a pound. It was the worst it's been in years. Yeah. And now I think yesterday it hit about 18, so it makes the UK for us a lot more attractive. Still, a pint of beer is going to cost you 150 rand, which is just ridiculous, but it's not as bad as it was in May. So the rates of exchange is a really big thing for us. And, you know, just on the flip side, we have a lot of inbound traffic coming in because a bottle of wine is going to cost £35, whereas here it's going to cost them 35 Rand if they convert it back.
Yeah.
So a lot of inbound traffic is coming in. And with the rates of exchange strengthening on the Rand side, it does make the UK a lot more attractive, as is the USA. Who's going to go to the USA soon? Not me, but yeah, you know the UK? No. I don't wear red.
So if I get from you, so you're saying that the inbound is growing
Yeah.
because of that. So then how would you then go about, as members sitting here, tapping into that? Because obviously if that's the market that's growing and the outbound as such is not necessarily then growing, which is, from what I understand, the majority of your business, how would you then tap into the market that is growing?
Yeah, that's a really difficult one to look at because from South Africa, 85% of our revenue is brought in by the trade. So
Yeah.
we're very, very, very trade focused. We can't rely on external factors, online things being done. So all the revenue coming from South Africa is from you. So with it being a very heavy inbound market, it is quite challenging. So I don't know if anybody else can help me with that answer. Anybody else on the floor can help with that answer. Yeah, inbound, as I said, it is better than the outbound. Focusing more maybe on domestic things when the guys are here in South Africa.
And forgive me, I'm going to put you on the spot now, and I would take it then, Keenan. You will fall on that same spot when I ask this following question. So if, for instance, now you're saying the UK becomes a lot more attractive now than it used to be USA, what would you guys do from your side as the airline to support the members in order to make it attractive for them to market that product, to help them?
Well, to be quite honest, you know, last year when I arrived here, the rent was trading around $13. Now it's around 14.5, and depending on the transpositions or what's going on in the US, maybe it will go over 15 or maybe more. Ex-South Africa, the market to Europe, it didn't grow. And if I'm not wrong, the market decreased by 6% because of the exchange rate. If you think as airlines, just without even selling the ticket, we lost about 20% of the revenue. And this is the actually main topic that we have been discussing with the travel agents. And the other thing that in the market obviously is the airlines are increasing the capacity. Now there is more seats than the demand in the market. And obviously everybody is trying to increase the yield. So the yields are coming down. And that could be maybe the solution for the outbound. Because the yields are coming down, so it will be more viable or easier to travel to overseas by South Africans.
Yeah.
But there's another danger. When the yields come down, the agent will not be able to hit the backup incentive, and they won't be able to earn as much as they used to last year. So it's a kind of, how shall I say, a paradox.
Okay.
Am I right?
Yeah, I can echo that as well. You know, I mean, the yield game is really, really challenging, and I'm going to pick on Geraldine here. We would send out sale fares that we get. She's like, thanks so much, but how do we, as Sure Travel, hit our revenue targets? And, you know, when you're in such a cutthroat competitive industry as we are in the airlines, you've got to stay in line or sometimes ahead of what the other airlines are doing, and that is where the yield comes into play. So drop your yield slightly, put a sale fare out in the market, help you guys get, you know, the sales up. It grows the revenue slower than it would for a high yielding fare, but at least we have that, you know, business coming in as well.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, yield is a very sensitive
Topic.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm just trying to think here. Who would you say is Sure Travel's top competitors in the market? Andy. you need a mic first for that one, Andy. Put you on the spot.
Basically, the other consortiums, each one offers something slightly different, but they are the main competitors. What there is a big danger of in this industry at the moment is if people aren't differentiating themselves, they're going to commoditize themselves, and it's going to be a consolidation market. It's happened in plenty of other countries, and there is a degree of writing on the wall if people aren't waking up and actually, like I say, differentiating themselves. That's one of the huge risks we're facing in the next 2 or 3 years. I see it happening in some of the other countries I manage. I've seen it in Europe, but you've got to look at your customer expectations, and manage your customer and do it better than the other guys. That's really what it comes down to give them what they need. I mean, in terms of, particularly for the TMCs, the challenges at the moment, big challenges are obviously the elephant in the room, the whole government travel policy. That's going to be a big one in the next year or so. You're fighting with the RAND, but as well, there's the whole thing about virtual payments and the customer's needs and expectations. Travel risk is growing. How are you going to handle that? But it's getting ahead of the game and not sitting back and letting the game overtake you. What they were talking about before innovation, take Kodak. The one thing I think he missed out on the innovation talk was, if you see a good idea, steal it and just make it better. That's the biggest trick of the lot. Don't sit there thinking it up. Look what everyone else is doing. Grab it. Yeah. Look how they built Apple. Come on, guys. They didn't invent the smartphone. Steal an idea and actually make it work.
So, just from your side, because you're coming from a different angle, all of you, into that marketplace where they're operating, do you guys see a need there, or maybe a service that is required to be delivered that people would want that's not being delivered?
Currently, yes. There are a number of things out in the market. I mean, agencies have to up their productivity.
How would you define that?
Well, you can take it as a base as bookings per agent over the business.
Okay.
Productivity needs to come up. There is a lot of automation now available, and it's not a case of getting rid of people, it's a case of increasing the productivity, doing more with what you have. I mean, the corporations now, very few in this country are yet really going for the whole travel and expense cycle. They're still focusing on the online booking tools for travel. You look outside, that's really, you have to keep looking outside this market, because what's out there is coming at some point.
Yeah.
So travel and expense is coming, more reporting demands are coming, so it's get yourself ahead. And I mean, the other one coming in now is obviously the virtual payment and expense reporting. That's going to be a huge thing for the corporates going forward.
Yeah.
And yeah, travel risk, but also information security.
Yeah.
Personal privacy, etc. You have to get up there with those plans. I mean, I've come from an online environment, and the thing is, if you don't play ahead of the game will pass you by.
And would you say that then for leisure as well as corporate?
Both, definitely.
Okay.
You're fighting, I mean, you have the two distinct leisure markets, the guys that are looking for cheap and the guys that are looking for service. And the ones that are looking for service, if you deliver, you've got a loyal customer and you own that customer. And your margins are far, far better if you can deliver that personal service. If you venture into the cutthroat of the online world, it's not a nice place to be. I've been there. But everybody, I mean, it's personality, it's differentiation, and it is the big buzzword, personalization. But that's not just on the traveler, it's on your corporate as well, your customer, what they require.
Yeah. Just from your side, Jason, would you say amongst your travel and their competitors out there, would you say they are better or not really?
It's a difficult question to answer. But I would look to answer on the basis that Sure is a unique franchise operation, and they've got a unique position in the market.
Okay.
I think for me, the question is, if I look at the market itself, I see more or less a stagnating market. It's not just Sure, it's all over. There are not that many leisure travelers. Business goes up and goes down as budgets, marketing budgets, expense budgets fluctuate. So for me, if I look at Shure and I look at just about everybody else, next year is going to be, for me, a pivotal year in terms of the retention of client. So what is everybody actually doing to keep that profitable client? Because your competitors are out there trying to get that person. So what are you doing that's actually going to retain that person? Are you getting to them first? Are you appealing to them? And are you actually going to give them a cheaper product, or are you actually going to give them a value-based product that you're going to earn a good margin off? So exactly what Andy said, and I'll touch on what George said too. There are people out there with money. I mean, I think, Simi and I have had this debate in our office many, many times, just on the leisure market. There must probably only around about 400,000 people actually physically traveling. It's a very small market for quite a few competitors to be playing in. How are you going to make sure that you keep that market? And then what are you going to be doing in order to get that new market that will be coming through? Our economy is basically stagnant at the moment. There are many factors that are just not allowing us to lift. And at some point it will change. And I see a travel community that's of a certain age. They've got resources, but they're not the future. There's a younger generation that's coming through. And I'm not talking about the 22-year-old. I'm actually talking about the 25 to the 32-year-old. At some point, they're going to be 35 and 40. And right now, when you walk around, you will see them touching their phones. They're looking for solutions. And the reason why they're looking for solutions is because nobody's giving them solutions. So for me, what are we going to be doing as a community to be giving them solutions? How are we going to get to them before they start looking for solutions? The new traveler out there is very, very different. They are mobile. They are upwardly mobile. They are sophisticated. Yeah. But they also want somebody to actually give them a solution. They are not totally wholly dependent on what's inside their phone or what's inside their tablet.
So that brings me to an interesting topic just to touch on to, because then in your own industries, what would you then say is your looking at that age group and them wanting something different? What is your competitive edge?
Knowledge. Because to me, internet is a fantastic resource for information, but offers no wisdom and no knowledge whatsoever. Yes, you can go and do your research and waste your whole weekend researching the internet, but at the end of the day, have you chosen what is right for you?
And how will you tap into that knowledge, that wisdom then? How would the customer tap into that? Our
business engages a lot in social media, so we are actually hunting for those people. So if someone, for example, puts a search like holiday in Europe, for example, immediately we start giving them suggestions about rather go on a cruise in Europe than anything else.
And would that be online information that you respond, or will they be interactive, personal?
It is online up to a point, and then if it matures, the relationship matures, then of course we start the conversation. Okay. And if you look at the biggest kind of internet providers, even in the States or overseas, especially when it comes to cruising, it does always lead you to a consultant. Yeah. Exactly for that reason.
So,
yes.
Sorry, can I just
Please,
make
Jason,
a point? The way I see it, there are different forms of information. So the question is, how much information are you giving to your market? Because the days of a person arriving saying, I know nothing, please educate me, that's not what we're living in. The person who's arriving, who's asking for a solution, already knows a lot. Yep. He wants to be given something special. And I'm a case in point. I arrived at a travel agent and I had an idea in my mind. I'd done my research, I had an idea. But this guy took it to another level. He also broke my wallet, but he took it to another level. But I was happy to pay. And
these are the customers we want.
So your customer's arriving already educated, but he actually wants more. How much more can you deliver to him? And then the second element about information is, are you giving the right information? So as a group, have you profiled your customer? And I'm not saying individually in your stores, because there are a lot of stores here, but you've got a head office. And if you pull all your information together, and this is, every single one of you can't do this alone. You don't have enough marketing budget. You don't have enough to put into your own creative systems. But collectively, you can do so much more. So have you profiled your customer? Do you know where your average 25-year-old goes, your average 32-year-old? Does your average 35 travel with a partner or not? You know, are they black? Are they white? Are they female? Are they male? Is the information telling you that they are tending more towards being adventure travelers? You've got all the information. So what are you giving your customer, and how are you using your own information to actually give them the right solution? Because by and large, we are not absolutely unique. From a DNA perspective, yes, we are. But we're all very similar when we start looking for solutions. There are lots of similarities. You have to tack onto those similarities and deliver the right solution. And your yield will go up. I promise you, your yield will go up. Even in my business. So we sell, our absolute majority of sales are through the trade. But a small portion of our sales, roughly around about 6%, is actually direct to the market. Our yield, so the average sale on our web sales is 20% higher. The customer that comes to our website, who we are giving information to, actually buys our comprehensive plan more than anywhere else. So it means to me that at some point, somebody is making a decision that drops that average price. Is it the consultant, or is it actually the individual? If it's a consultant, then there's an assumption on behalf of the client. But if it is the client, then it is the client on the basis that they don't know enough. So at some point, you can use your information to far better position yourself. And if you're not going to do it, the uniqueness of Shure or whoever your competitor is, somebody is going to get there before you. You have it. You just have to use it.
So just to tap into that, and I see you nodding your head there, Andy. And I'm going to get to you now. You're very quiet on that side there, Jerome, man. So I'm going to pop a question to you right now after this one. But what would you say, Andy, is Shure Travel's competitive edge compared to the competitors out there?
The name, the brand, but really, I mean, the amount of information you hold between you, going back to what Jason said,
yeah.
That has, I mean, everyone's heard of big data and all this stuff. You have an immense amount internally. And if you can actually identify what is going on across the group, that would be crazy valuable. Because I don't think any of the other consortiums yet are even doing that. But pooling everything into one central point could actually make a huge difference in terms of the whole model going forward. And I could, when Jason's saying it there, yeah, that is something that really could drive you guys forward. And I would actually be looking at that, Vanya.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Sorry, can I just say something on that as well? Another really great strength for Shure, again, is your brand. And the fact that all of your offices are owner-managed is another really, really big thing. You are so vested in your business succeeding that your clients know that it's your money that you put on the table to make a success of your office. You're not contributing one store to a greater picture. You are in the grander scheme of things, but your business is your business. And they know that you have got a vested interest in it, so you are going to give them the best possible service that you can, because it's your bread and butter that you're looking after as well. And that's a really, really big thing. So, I mean, it's your business, what you are doing, and that's a big comfort for the clients as well, because they know that if there's a problem, you've got their back as well. And again, as Jason says, the amount of knowledge and experience and wisdom in this room is, you can't buy that. You absolutely can't buy that. You're not guys and girls and people that have just finished school, think, what am I going to do for a year of my life? Oh, let's become a travel consultant. And you're not a number cruncher, you're not a data inputter. You are professional people and the best in what you do. And that's a very, very big, strong point from our side.
So, interesting comment to make. So my question as an outsider is just going to be, from your experience, do they sell that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very much so.
Is it?
Yeah.
So
I would say
customers
it's
experience
spotted.
that.
The performance is very spotted. We have some brilliant performance.
Okay.
And some, I think that, as I said before, very transactional based. And again, I think we're all talking more or less the same language here from different kind of parts of the industry. That consultation that makes you valuable is understand your client's need and aspirations and deliver the product that will service those. I mean, the equation is idiotically simple, but for some reason we lose that. Yes, we go for price. I mean, if someone goes online to Jason's site and Jason gets a 20% higher transactional value on his product compared to what you would get from a professional travel consultant, it's scary. Because a machine can do a better job than the consultant. Because I think, unfortunately, again, we're too much focused on price. God forbid, we give a quotation that is more expensive than the shop next door or online or whatever it might be. And we lose, again, that opportunity that we become so valuable to the customer and we offer something that is so dear to him or her that the price becomes irrelevant. They will pay that premium.
Yeah, awesome.
There's one thing on that.
Andy.
I mean, as a regular traveller as well now, and even though I'm not from that world, I no longer buy my tickets online, even my own, because of the customer service issues, etc., sitting on phone queues. I want the service, and for my own holidays, I'm prepared to pay for it.
Yeah.
So when that thing goes wrong, I can sort it with the minimum and get forward.
Yeah.
And that has an immense value.
So that needs to be solved.
Yeah,
And I do exactly
I've
the
stopped
same.
buying online.
Yeah.
I'm also in the travel industry. I know enough, I think, to do my own bookings, and I don't. I use
Yeah.
a professional travel consultant
Awesome.
for the service, for the backup, for the advice, and
Yeah.
for access. For example, I had to cancel a flight once. I paid penalties. The agent has a corporate agreement or whatever that waives the penalties.
Yeah.
Small things like that. So, but they become very valuable when you're stuck at the other side of the world in a snowstorm.
And that only becomes valuable if you notify the people about it. If the customer becomes aware of it.
Well, that's the missed opportunity.
Yeah. Jerome, you wanted to say?
I want to just comment on the overarching theme here about relationships and experiences.
Yeah.
And I think that as Shaw member and the people in this room have a fantastic opportunity because of their sheer size. It's an owner-run store, so you can really solidify those relationships, build on those relationships. I, in the last 2 weeks, met with at least 2 or 3 corporates where their accounts are moving, and one of them said to me, our travel management company was simply not understanding our business any longer. They
Sure.
weren't changing alongside us. And I think that you have that really unique opportunity because you're not sitting on a big corporate floor, and it's about putting that out there, and it's about really just embracing that and saying, how can we continue to partner with our customers?
And thank you for that. And that is a great thing. So what I'm picking up here is that consultant-customer interaction. And how do you then, as a member, and I'm going to ask you, in your own organization, by looking at them, how would you recommend, how do you drive performance of your consultants so that they are efficient, as you mentioned earlier, that they are effective, that they do carry that message across? You may design the most awesome product to create that wisdom across, to sell it, but how do you performance manage that? Jerome?
It can be pretty tricky sometimes. I think that we're very fortunate as a brand and as an organization. So we've realized that and it was so great that this morning's presentation was about being a legacy brand,
Yeah.
because Protea Hotels is a legacy brand in the local market. So it was about saying, how do we keep in step and in tune with the ever-evolving needs of our customers. And so we've got this great stuff, and how are we taking it to market? And we've just had to become really, really creative about taking it to market, and manage that and just be very, very hands-on. We've just come through a very big week for us, which was Global Customer Appreciation Week, where we launched a couple of great initiatives, but it was about how we take this personalization, because we spoke about personalization earlier, and it's the buzzword. It's what we all strive for, but it's about how are we truly doing it and how are we telling our customers about it. So we did it in a very interesting ice cream concept this past week, which was hard work and a logistical nightmare sometimes, but so it's just about finding new ways to take your message to market.
Okay. And just to, if you wanted to take over there, the actual consultant, how do you support them? How do you performance manage them as an actual consultant on the floor interacting with your customer?
Okay, it's very difficult to know what the consultant's actually doing with the customer. What we can do is we can control our end of it. So, in terms of the way that we manage it, we've actually built a system that allows us to report and control all the activity of what our sales reps do in the market. So we can tell you at any point in time how many reps are in how many stores and exactly what the activity is in the store. But I think we are almost at the point, it doesn't matter how good we are. We also know our place, and our place is one product in amongst 1,000. And the consultants are busy. They are very, very, very busy. So we only have a fraction of their time in the month to actually impress upon them how important our product is, all the various aspects. So I think at some point, there has to be more done by the supplier in order to alleviate some of the consultant's pressure. The question is, what exactly is that? What can the supplier do to alleviate some of that pressure? What can the supplier do in order to provide the right type of information to give that consultant the edge so that they don't have to worry about the certain nuances? It is right there, it's at their fingertips, or the customer already knows it at some point. And I think that is going to be one of the most important factors going forward, because the consultants they don't have extra time. And there are more products out there, there are more ways of doing things. So it's becoming ever more complex. As suppliers, I think also the trade can ask, or I'm sure can ask their suppliers, what are you doing for us to make it easier for us? It's not just a one-way street. It's got to be both. We've got to be able to deliver our product in the most efficient manner and the most sensible manner in order to make your lives easier. And that's always a challenge on us. So it's going to get back to how you're going to package your product and what kind of information you're going to deliver and how you're going to empower that consultant to do it.
So what I hear here, it is all about, at every level, about relationship and having healthy relationships that you can realize what discussions can we have and should we have to take it better forward. So just before we end off, as we're running out of time, can I just quickly run through all of you and ask for you to share one thing that you think, from your experience and what you've heard via the grapevine, that Sure Travel members can do to be different out there? And start from...
To be quite honest, just from my perspective, maybe we have to inform the consultants more about our product. This is what we've been doing since I got the job. And the information has been just passed to the customer, because we have so many value adds in our product. It's not only the flight tickets. We have the Istanbul tours or the lounge, the connections. As long as this has been passed to the customer, I think the sale will be easy and the yield will be more than they normally get.
Okay, thank you. Jordaan?
I would say just focus on the connected customer. When we take these breaks, everyone's on their tablet or their smartphone or something. So focus on the connected customer. What message are we putting out there for the connected customer as they do their homework? And then when they finally come to you, how we're going to close that loop with the great service that differentiates you.
Thank you.
So I think the Sure Group does an excellent job anyway. But the only thing that what I would look to impress upon every single person in this room is that you have to start learning you've got to learn how to collaborate. You've got to collaborate in terms of your information. You've got to collaborate in terms of some of your resources. Resources are scarce. Whether it's your time, it's your physical assets, or your cash in the bank, whatever it is, it's scarce. So if you can learn to collaborate your information, you can learn to collaborate some of your energies. There are experts out there that are going to help you get to a new level in terms of being able to be relevant to your customer. Your competitors are trying to do it, and if they're not, they will be soon.
Thank you. Yeah, Andy?
He stole mine. The other one is, as an import into South Africa, and I've been here 6 years now, until I actually joined my current company, I didn't really know what Sure was. I haven't seen, it isn't in, you need to get the brand and the values, I think, more prominently out there. I don't read much of newspapers. I don't know where you advertise and market the brand. I haven't seen it much online. I spent much of my life online. But in terms of getting the word of what you represent out there, I think that can have value, apart from the collaboration, but maybe some more marketing on the brand.
Thank you. Thanks, Annie. Mark?
What I would say is stick with your preferred partners. Preferred partners are... We are very carefully selected from a greater, grander picture. Preferred partners are there to help you grow your business, and you can sell all of our products with confidence, knowing that you've got the support from us, that you can sell it with confidence, and that if there's any drama at the end of the day, that you know that you can be able to pick up a phone and not get lost in some cyberspace somewhere. Stick with your preferreds. We are here to help you give the best service to your client.
Thanks, Mark. George?
Well, I would maybe generalize a bit. Of course, as you all know, we have infinite resources available to the industry, but if you don't want to use them, they are useless. So I think each and every one of us have to take charge of your own destiny and be very, very proactive and go out there and get the business. And I was very upset by Vanya this morning, because she says that you don't sell travel. She says you just live it, breathe it, and sleep it. That's correct. I would say that because you sell travel, you have to live it, breathe it, and sleep it. Ultimately, you sell the damn thing to survive. So don't forget that.
Thanks so much for that. Thank you. And gentlemen, thank you so much for your frankness and for sharing. Really appreciate that. Before we break for lunch, which is what we've come to, I want to call Mandy to the stage quickly. Because what you've heard earlier, and Mel broke the news on that, is that we've got tomorrow a birthday man in our midst. Thanks. And then we just want to say thank you to all of you for sitting in the hot seat and sharing. Thanks, Mandy.
Everybody gets You're just a bad habit. No. No.
No sharing.
Thank you, Mandy.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Personal touch.
Personalized.
Personal touch. Perfect.